Mercy Hall will be torn down this summer. See how this change is going to affect your class scheduling.
Plus, laws across the country are affecting the LGBTQ+ community. See how trans rights advocates took to the streets here in New Orleans.
And everyone's favorite uptown bookstore cat is back home. Find out what's up with Kitty Meow.
Wolfpack News starts now.
Hello and welcome to PAC News. I'm Devin Cruz.
And I'm Caleb Moye.
The culture and campus of Loyola will change this fall. Right now, student organizations, faculty, and athletics use the window as a time to come together. The window is also a guaranteed break for students.
But all of that will change this fall. Loyola officials announced the window will disappear in August. This summer, crews will tear down Mercy Hall to build a new dorm. Classes currently held in Mercy will have to move. The university decided to get rid of the window temporarily for the fall of those classes. Also affected, the Center for International Education and Loyola Center for Counseling and Education will need a new home. I got a chance to sit down with Vice Provost Dr. Quesada, who helped make the decision.
University master plan includes a new building where Mercy Hall is currently located. When we're talking about a new building, not just a renovation, we're talking about many changes.
But the Vice Provost of Loyola says this may be a positive and temporary change that will help students in the long run.
So we need to be in a conversation for the coming months. We have to be flexible. Because what is triggering this change is a very positive new project for the university. Of course, changes are always challenging in the sense that we do not know many things immediately, but we are at Loyola. I mean, we're a small university in which we can talk about issues and find solutions about any issues. That's my hope.
Whether this change will really affect a lot of students, professors, or student organizations will be determined next semester. We will keep you updated as we learn more. For now, this has been Caleb Moye reporting. And students also expressed their frustrations with the decision. They said alternative options could have been explored in order to keep the window in place.
But if it's a few classes, you can move those classes to online. Or you can move a few of the electives to online. You don't have to, you're saying it's a few classes, then why does every one of my classes for next semester not tell me where the location's going to be and it just says pool?
You know, it's going to be unfair to some people. I obviously, I'm kind of upset about this as well. And no one's going to take us like, oh yeah, thank God. But, you know, it just is what it is. You know, I'm kind of accept that philosophy at this point with a lot of things that Loyola does. A window is a very important time for a lot of students, right? I know when I was a freshman, I used that window to you know, take a nap or, you know, go eat lunch or something, and the fact that they're getting rid of that is it's a little strange.
I feel like if they're going to take away this gap that everybody has, they should maybe replace it with another time gap so that people can still have time to meet with professors, get food, go back to their dorms if need be.
I want you to try your best and take care of yourself. Any small time in your day, 10 or 5 minutes, if you want to sit outside, have a snack, just make sure that you take care of yourself so you can do what you need to do.
The university said ending the window is a short-term solution, and the new dorm is expected to open by the fall of 2025.
A protest of over 100 people gathered in the Lower Garden District on Friday. They protested proposed laws that they say negatively target trans people in the U.S. Reporter Chloe Caudle takes us to Washington Square Park to explain the reasons behind the rally.
Protesters were out in support of transgender rights because of recently proposed anti-trans laws around the country. Organizations like Freedom Road's Socialist Organization felt it was important to get people out against these laws.
We're co-organizing this march because of these attacks against trans people and against LGBTQ people in general.
One Loyola student, Blue DeMarco, was out to support the protest.
I'm trans, so I think it's really good to support the community.
Blue is also a member of the Youth Democratic Socialists of America.
Working with YDSA is really amazing because we're a coalition of students that want equality and justice on Loyola's campus because there's definitely a lack of that. So organizing with other students, organizing with other workers, maintaining solidarity with one another is probably our biggest purpose. Yeah, and helping educate others.
This isn't YDSA's first time protesting to protect trans rights. They also did it when Governor John Bel Edwards came to campus, and recently to protect safe spaces among all college campuses.
In New Orleans, Chloe Caudle reporting.
Louisiana lawmakers have proposed 2 laws concerning LGBTQ+ rights. One will force teachers to use a student's birth name. The other is a proposed book ban that could target LGBTQ+ literature. Those bills will be debated at the legislative session, which begins next Monday.
And one on-campus sorority is spreading the word about prominence of sexual assault. Since April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, Alpha Chi Omega is tabling in front of the Dana Center throughout the month. The sorority hopes to raise awareness for the New Orleans Family Justice Center, a nonprofit organization that provides support and housing for survivors of sexual assault. An advocate for the New Orleans Family Justice Center said 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will experience some form of sexual assault in their lifetime. To show support for survivors and victims of sexual assault, wear teal throughout the month of April.
It has been just over a year since the tornado that ripped through Araby and St. Bernard Parish. Homes in Araby are still damaged or missing. I spoke to community members about why.
1 year after the Araby tornado, people are still trying to rebuild or repair, but the biggest roadblock is insurance.
It's extremely frustrating. I've been living in a home that's damaged for over a year now.
People like Justin Stevens are now suing their insurance just to get coverage while living in their damaged homes.
I don't think a lot of people have that money just sitting in a bank account somewhere where they can front it in the hopes that their insurance company actually pays them back the full amount.
Just down the street, Wayne McCarthy's home was torn from its slab. He says he and his wife found out too late about a wind exclusion in their policy.
She's been paying since 2008. Every year, we thought we were covered, and we're not.
McCarthy says the lack of coverage is life-changing.
This was all done, and now I'm gonna have a mortgage until I'm 70, 80 years old.
Insurers say that customers were mailed sometime shortly after Katrina about wind exclusions, but State Farm agent Cindy Meyer says it was up to agents to tell their customers.
Obviously, we want to pay for whatever we can pay for. But when there's an exclusion, there's an exclusion.
Check, make sure your policy, they didn't change it on you and didn't tell you. Because that's exactly what they did to us at some point. And we'll forever be paying for that mistake for the rest of our lives.
This was Devin Cruz, Wolfpack News.
I spoke to Justin Stevens again earlier today. He told me that just this morning his insurance has settled on the lawsuit. Wayne McCarthy and his wife have not had the same luck. They have hired a contractor to build a new home without any help from their insurance.
And Arkansas was also slammed by tornadoes this weekend. The tornadoes killed over 30 people. Little Rock was one of the hardest hit areas in Arkansas. These tornadoes are happening earlier than expected as the peak of tornado season is from April until June. Now let's get over to Jonathan with the weather.
Thank you, Caleb. We have been seeing a bit of rough weather in the southern U.S. region this week, and this is going to continue as we have had rain showers this morning in St. Tammany Parish that will be moving northeast, which puts severe weather threat to southern states, including Mississippi, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida. However, here in New Orleans, we are experiencing warm weather with temperatures in the mid-80s. And tonight, temperatures will be in the low 70s with a slight breeze and partly cloudy skies. And that wind will bring in heavier skies and a cloudy day tomorrow morning. However, tomorrow afternoon, there will be similar weather to today's, with temperatures also in the mid-80s. Now, this streak will continue into Wednesday, with temperatures also in the 80s, but there is a 20% chance of rain Wednesday. As the front continues to move over into Thursday, we will be having a 40% chance of thunderstorms that will continue into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, we are expecting scattered storms, and by Easter Sunday, we are expecting a 30% chance of rain with partly cloudy skies and temperatures in the high 70s. And the storm will clear out by next Monday, leaving us with partly cloudy skies and temperatures in the mid-70s. This has been Jonathan Whitehead with the weather. Back to at the desk.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. And Loyola rolled out special meal options for students observing religious holidays. Reporter Gabrielle Carine is in front of the Orleans room right now. They'll give updates on the dining room's operations for the next week.
We are in the dining center right now where Sodexo is rolling out halal options for students observing Ramadan. They are also providing boxed meals for those same students. Iggy's Cupboard will be providing halal options as well. And for students looking for something to do on Passover, head over to Tulane's Chabad House for Seder dinner Wednesday through Friday night. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Gabrielle. The dining room will close this Friday through Sunday for the Easter holiday. As you can see, most on-campus vendors will also not be open, though students can grab food from the market for a limited amount of time on Saturday. Most campus dining options will be back on Monday.
Horror movie fans headed to the Prytania Theater this weekend for the Overlook Film Festival. Reporter Sophia Bermejo was out there to check it out.
This weekend, cinephiles and horror lovers alike came together to celebrate Overlook Film Festival, an annual horror film festival hosted in our very own New Orleans, known to some as the spookiest city in America. Hosted at both Prytania Theater Uptown and Prytania Theater at Canal Place, the four-day event showcased both classic and newly released horror films, with special guests such as Nicolas Cage, John Goodman, and Jim Jarmusch in attendance for audience Q&As.
Stuff like that. And then the editing, the film tells you what.
NOLA's The Vampire Cafe partnered with the festival for a few screenings, as well as Super Yaki, who made special merchandise just for the event.
I think what's most fun for us is that we get to create kind of wearable, tangible materials that people can take home. It kind of uses like a physical kind of memory for experiencing the festival.
We'll see you next year at the summer camp for horror genre fans. This has been Sophia Mangelo with Wolfpack News.
The festival also promoted the new movie Renfield. The movie stars Nicolas Cage, who was at the festival.
Also happening last weekend, the Rainbow Iris Festival in City Park brought out a crowd of people to see A Honeybee's Dream. The Iris Festival happens every year in the spring. You can see some of the vibrant colors and the gardens in the New Orleans Museum of Art Sculpture Garden come alive. Those are beautiful. Look at those, Devin. That one's really nice.
Yeah.
Here's what the New Orleans Iris Society Vice President had to say about the event.
Out on the island, and they're all blooming, and you're walking, and you've got yellow and pink and red and almost like a black color and orange, things you never dreamt of. It is like, if that's what heaven is, I'm ready.
Festivals aren't the only way to hear some new music this spring. The New Orleans Public Library just launched a streaming platform known as Crescent City Sounds. The service promotes local musicians' work. Crescent City Sounds will compensate all artists with a $250 cash prize. If you want to hear more, go to crescent-citysounds.org. Former President Donald Trump is bracing for the reading of his criminal charges and his expected arrest. Researcher of American elections Dr. Sean Kane is here. He will break down what these charges mean for Trump's political career.
And thousands helped in the research and rescue of a missing bookstore cat. We'll meet the famous feline coming up.
Here is where your story continues. Stretch the limits of your imagination. Create the world as you see it. One letter, one word, one pixel at a time. Move to the rhythm of your own story. Make something more. For him and her and them, for the world. Do what you love. Tell stories like never before in state-of-the-art recording, news, and editing studios. Created just for you. Learn skills that will never expire. Document moments, seconds, frames per second. Turn them into masterpieces. Creativity is more than a lifestyle. Make it a career. Tune into the sounds around you. Those notes, you were always meant to sing them. Creative boundaries, you were always meant to break them. Become the creative professional you are destined to be at the Anchor Institution for the Creative Economy. This is a stage, a world stage. New Orleans, culture rich. Loyola, hands-on access. Make the next move. Perform and work immediately. We do things differently. Use your creativity to impact society. Expand your mind. Be with and for others. Continue your story in the College of Music and Media at Loyola University, New Orleans.
Former President Trump just got off the plane in New York City. He's expected to appear in criminal court tomorrow. There, he will hear the charges against him at the arraignment proceeding. Trump faces around 30 counts of business fraud. This includes hush money payments he made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Those payments were made during the 2016 presidential campaign. New York deputies will also take the former president's fingerprints and mugshot tomorrow. Trump's attorney says he will plead not guilty to the charges. Caleb got the chance to talk to Loyola professor and political scientist Dr. Kane about how the case impacts young voters. Caleb?
And we're joined by political analyst Dr. Kane. Dr. Kane, thanks for joining us. So I guess just to start, could we get a brief run through on what this indictment charge would really mean? What charges do you think he might be facing in the coming future?
Yes, former President Trump is being indicted for business fraud crimes related to payoff of a mistress. Now, it'll be announced tomorrow, and news media reports also say that there are upwards of 30 charges. So we may learn more about what the exact charges are tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow coming up, he's going to be read his charges. Do you think that this could, what do you think this could mean for the former president? What charges do you think he'll face? Like, what punishment do you think might come about it?
It'll begin a long road for him within the criminal justice system in New York. The charges are in New York, so it's not a federal indictment. Mm-hmm. And it will shape the presidential campaign going forward because everybody's going to be reacting to this, and starting with former President Trump.
And speaking of politics, it should be really hard on his political career. Do you think it will actually play a part in that?
I'm not sure I would use the word hard on his career yet. His supporters may see it, in fact, they do see it as an injustice, mm-hmm. From what we can tell so far. And I think in the short term, and this is not knowing what specific charges will be read to him tomorrow, but in the short term, I think it helps his campaign because it simply shines the spotlight on him and doesn't do so on most of his other opponents.
Yeah, so as we're seeing a lot of rallying for Trump's support and on the opposition as well, do you think that this will affect the 2024 election since he announced that he would be running?
Yes, without a doubt. It will shape the rest of the election campaign. How it will do so is unpredictable. President Trump is the first former or even current president to ever have been indicted for any criminal charges. And to say what will happen going forward is something I'm not willing to wage any money on. However, that said, as I said, I believe it helps him in the short term because it shines a spotlight on him. His supporters believe it's an injustice. Even some of his opponents have so far criticized the district attorney in New York for bringing these charges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is really like a momentous time in history. It's one of the first times that a former president has been indicted. Have we seen anything like this with former presidents, though? Like anything close to something like this?
Well, when President Nixon resigned from office amidst the Watergate scandal in 1974, the federal government was weighing some charges against him. Many of his campaign advisors and his advisors in the White House were ultimately convicted of crimes and served time in prison. So he had a cloud hanging over him. But ultimately, his successor, President Ford, pardoned him, so that it never went to trial. Whereas this is quite different. It's a state bringing charges against the former president. A president cannot pardon anybody for state crimes according to the Constitution. So if Mr. Trump gets elected, he can't pardon himself for these crimes. And if someone else gets elected president who supports, perhaps it's some other Republican, they can't pardon him for whatever these crimes might be.
That's good to know. I mean, that's a question that a lot of people were wondering as well. So I guess with all this in mind, is there something that young voters or even voters in general who might not know much about the topic, is that something that they should keep in mind when looking at voter fraud or coming elections?
Oh, of course. Yeah, this is information that will help voters make choices. Even amongst Republican voters, there are already some opponents to the former president who want to be the Republican nominee. There is former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson have officially announced. Others, such as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former Vice President Mike Pence, haven't yet officially announced they're running. But this is information that can help voters make their decision, even in the Republican primary. And of course, it will, if President Trump is nominated by the Republicans, it will help Democratic voters and voters for third-party candidates make their decision. So I think one thing to keep in mind is that the election for president won't be until November of next year, but the campaign is already underway, both behind the scenes and in front of the cameras.
Yeah, well, that's great information to know. Thank you so much for Dr. Kane for joining us.
Thank you, Caleb.
Appreciate it.
In other news, the LSU women's purple and gold took home the gold this weekend. We'll tell you why that was a historic win. Plus, see Loyola's K-pop dance club bust a move. And hear why some students are calling it a safe space on campus.
Well, the LSU Tigers are now national champs. Last night, the women's basketball team squashed out the opposition at the NCAA National Championship. The final score for that game was 102-85. Now, this is the Tigers' first national title and Coach Kim Mulkey's fourth. After the historic win, though, Twitter went after player Angel Reese. They claimed she was, quote, classless and had poor sportsmanship for using the exact same gesture as Iowa star player Caitlin Clark. But Reese had a message for her haters after that win.
All year, I was critiqued about who I was. Nobody, the narrative, I don't fit the narrative. I don't fit in the box that y'all want me to be in. I'm too hood, I'm too ghetto. Y'all told me that all year. But when other people do it, y'all don't say nothing. So this was for the girls that look like me, that's gonna speak up on what they believe in. It's unapologetically you. And that's what I did it for tonight. This was for it was bigger than me tonight. It was bigger than me. Twitter is gonna go in a rage every time. And I mean, I'm happy. I feel like I've helped grow women's basketball this year. I'm super happy and excited. So I'm looking forward to celebrating in the next season.
And right back here at home, Loyola University New Orleans tennis team hosted the Smash Cancer event at the City Park Tennis Center last month. And reporter Eve McFarland gave us a closer look at that event.
What day is it?
Smash Cancer!
That's right. Isabella Liano, a junior student athlete, started Smash Cancer in honor of her grandfather, who died of acute myeloid leukemia. This is her second year at Loyola, bringing this event to life, and her expectations were exceeded.
I mean, it's crazy because, quite frankly, I don't know half of these people. And just because they're athletes, they show up because they want to support the athletic community, and it's great to see all these teams come together because we don't typically have events like these where we're all like united as one.
Some of the teams that supported were baseball,
Smash Cancer!
volleyball,
Smash Cancer!
and men's and women's basketball teams.
Smash Cancer!
I love to see it, and it's really inspiring that I can do it myself.
They have raised almost $7,000, and all donations are directed towards their benefactor, Stand Up to Cancer. Leano's aspirations for this event has a bigger picture for the future.
And it's been great. Over the past 5 years, we've raised over $20,000. So it's been pretty successful coming from just a small, tight-knit community and evolving into this. It's been a crazy journey. But I kind of want it to be like a legacy and something for the tennis team to uphold, and maybe for it to become a larger thing for the athletic community. But I just really want it to be a unifying factor in the athletic department. I just feel like a lot of love. So it's a really nice thing.
This is Eve McFarland.
Beautiful thing. Very happy about it.
Reporting.
Thanks, Eve. And this weekend, the women's golf team dropped to number 12 in the NAIA rankings this weekend. This comes after playing in the Music City Classic just last week, where they placed 11th. Now, the Wolfpack will play today and tomorrow. That match is set up in West Florida. And the men's golf team finished their regular season Friday. They're headed to the SSAC Championship on April 16th. And the Pelicans scored a huge win Saturday against the Los Angeles Clippers. The score for that game was 122 to 114. After the game, Brandon Ingram told ESPN, quote, "If you want to be the best, you've got to go against the best, and you've got to beat them." This puts the Pels in 7th place in the West. They're at a half game out for making playoffs. Tomorrow night, they'll face off the Sacramento Kings in the Blender. That's all for sports. Thanks for sticking with us.
Students looking to build community on campus are finding their way to the dance studios.
Reporter Dominique Tolliver explains how K-pop is bringing Loyola students together.
Loyola's K-pop dance club was the perfect combo for freshman Kaylee Gomez.
I immediately fell in love because I've been dancing since I was 2. It just brings two of my passions together. It's delicious.
Gomez said the club gave her a safe space on campus to meet other students who enjoyed K-pop.
K-pop is fun, and there isn't that big of a K-pop community in general. Aside from how mainstream it is, there just isn't that big of a community for it here especially. So we just kind of want to provide that for people.
K-pop Dance Club president Monica Vega Rosado said the club wants to show that dance isn't just for experts and that anyone could come in and try something new.
We basically welcome everybody that's no matter the dance level that you're in. We just want to have fun. We want to share the interest of K-pop, and it's very diverse. You don't even have to come in to dance. Some people just come in to do homework. So yeah, it's just being around people with your same interests.
Vega Rosado said she hopes that other students come in and give the club a chance.
If you just want to dance, don't be turned away or turned off by the word K-pop. Because at the end of the day, it's just a dance. So if people just want to explore dancing, then they should, we come here with open arms and we'll teach them something new every day.
This is Dominique Tolliver reporting.
Nice moves, Dominique. The club is also partnering with the Loyola Asian Student Organization to give back to the community.
Together, these organizations raised $9,000 for One Body Village. The charity provides housing, education, and therapy to sexually abused children across the country. Hundreds of Instagram users theorized where one bookstore cat wandered off to.
We'll introduce the kitty worker in some of those theories.
Thousands of people helped find an Uptown bookstore's kitty co-worker in late March. Now the bookstore is saying thank you.
Reporter Ray Wahlberg talked with the managers of Blue Cypress Books on how they are paying it forward.
Thanks to the over 5,000 social media shares on this missing cat post and the multiple people who searched for her around the Oak Street area, this local celebrity is back, and she's napping in her favorite chair.
It's crazy. She does not even know the level of her celebrity.
Kitty Meow was found after a nearby neighbor saw this post circulating on social media. They then messaged a bookstore that they saw Kitty Meow a few blocks away from Blue Cypress Books.
We wish we could thank everyone who was, but we thought the least we can do is invite everybody to join us in entering a giveaway.
The prize included a signed photo of Kitty Meow, a $27 gift card with $1 for every hour she was gone, and a Kitty Meow search and rescue sticker. While the bookstore already named a winner, they're not done giving back to the community. Blue Cypress Books is making a zine out of people's giveaway entries. The proceeds from this zine will benefit the shelter where Kitty Meow was adopted.
What we did was we invited people to enter the contest by theorizing what she might have been doing while she was gone. People think that she was visiting different businesses on Oak Street. Then there was the ones that, she was out, gallivanting around doing naughty things.
I'm here at Blue Cypress Books with the talk of the town. Kitty Meow, where did you go that day where you were nowhere to be found? I guess we'll never know where Kitty Meow went the day of March 20th. Reporting for the Maroon, this is Ray Wahlberg.
Now, Kitty Meow didn't audibly thank those who helped bring her home, but she is making sure to greet customers and purr extra loud when she receives belly rubs at the bookstore.
And I scrolled through the Instagram post that theorized what Kitty Meow was doing that day or where she went, and a lot of people were saying that she was committing some very gruesome and horrific acts.
Well, I have my own theory. I think that Kitty Meow took a stroll down to the milk bar for her favorite treat. After that, milk-drunk Kitty Meow stumbled down Oak Street, took a long nap in a neighbor's yard, and that's where she was found.
And as we say goodbye, check out photos from Saturday's Taco and Tequila Festival. The event was held in Armstrong Park. We'll see you next time.